All right. Hey, guess what? Good evening and welcome to Straight Up. We're going to rock and roll. It's 107.1 FM. We're broadcasting underground in beautiful Guyana, and we are streaming online as well. And let's get ready to rock and roll this evening, right? It's Friday. Loosen up. Maybe I should not have put on this tie, but it is what it is. It's a talk show, right? And sometimes when we think it's radio, it's just radio. It is also the platform, social media that is used as television. So we got to look nice for television, right? So spread the word, share the link. We'll be right back with our guest. I'm not going to say who our guest is for right now, but you'll see him. He's from the quarantine, Alnis Village. You know who he is. We'll be right back.
I'm in the mood, I'm feeling rude, I'm feeling hot, I want to run. The feeling exciting, so darling, let's do something. I wanna rub my body on your body, my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub and love him. I wanna rub and kiss him. I wanna rub and jam him. I wanna rub and rub him. I wanna rub my body on your body. Rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body. Rub my body on your body. I just get paid. I want to play. The vibes is right. I wanna hug up tight. No time to waste. I wanna work my ways. So come on, babes. Give me a taste. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub and love him. I wanna rub and kiss him. I wanna rub and jam him. I wanna rub and rub him. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Pulling on. I'm feeling, 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 I'm feeling.
This is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington law firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
If you are looking to have your statutory declaration, affidavit of income, identity, damage or lost passport, lost license, tenancy agreement, agreement of settlement, power of attorney, last will and testament, and certification of documents, then you need to visit the Alistair Collins firm, located at the Killian Mall, 162 Lamaha Street, in Georgetown, between Camp and Waterloo Street. Alistair Collins is a commissioner of oaths and a justice of the peace. Make certain you visit him or call for more information at 649-6410 or 685-6448 or 503-1451. And there's adequate parking available. Go down to the Alistair Collins firm and have all of your legal issues settled and brought to the fore. Alistair Collins Firm. Contact them at Alistair Collins Firm.
All right, hey, guess what? Let's get ready to rock and roll. Good evening to all of you. My name is Mark Benshap, and we are going to rock and roll for 1 hour, okay? Ask that you share the link. Share the link with your friends. If you don't share the link, we will know, and Facebook will suspend you. All right? Good. So look at this, Village Voice. Village Voice newspaper comes out every Sunday. So don't forget to pick up a copy of the Village Voice newspaper, right? Support the news that actually, well, I don't know, but sometimes Village Voice, I don't know, I look at some of the news and I'm like, come on, you can do better, Village Voice. We all can do better, right? So, but nevertheless, pick up a copy of your Village Voice newspaper. If you spend your money on any other newspaper, ensure that you spend it first on the Village Voice, okay? And every Sunday you can get free copies of the Village Voice. I think, first 25 or 30 customers, they get a free copy of the Village Voice at Andrew's Supermarket. Andrew's Supermarket is located at South, right? They also do, if you're sending or receiving money, MoneyGram. Oh yeah, MoneyGram is back up and running, right? Folks are getting their money without any hassle in Guyana. MoneyGram. I'm not advertising MoneyGram, but you can use MoneyGram service right there at Andrew's Supermarket. Good evening. Guess what? My name is Mark Benshap. We are going to rock and roll this evening. I'm the guy that a lot of people love, and then I'm also the guy that some of the people don't love. They don't like. They don't want to see, right? But that's okay. That is life. All right? So good evening to all of you. Sometimes I feel as though, indeed, I'm full of myself, but, it comes with the territory sometimes, right? All right, so it's Friday. Let's get straight down to Lemon. Lemon is just checking in tonight. He's working. He's in studio. Where is Lemon? He's not on. Lemon, how are you?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Good evening. everyone.
Yes, good evening, sir. Good evening, Lemon. How are you doing?
I'm fine here, working hard, Mark. Are you still with me tonight?
You are, yep, you are working hard. What's bothering you, man? Lots of things. You get the war in Ukraine. You get Russia invaded Ukraine. You get that dictator Putin. What's bothering you, Lemon? Let's hear. Is it affecting you?
Well, what really bothers me is what's going on in Guyana.
Oh, so you're not bothered about what's happening in the Ukraine?
Yes, I worry about that, but
yeah,
what bothers me in Guyana is the way the installed regime treating the rice farmers,
Mm-hmm.
And the way I see how the police handle those guys to arrest them, they have no class.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely no class. All right, in the manner in which they treated those rice farmers yesterday, right?
Yes.
It kind of like, it's heartbroken, actually. Look at that. Look at that. The PPP ordered those people, sent those those police there so that they can do what they did to those rice farmers. They brutalized those rice farmers. Look, here, guess what? I'm looking at some of your comments. Don't say that it's good for them that they voted for the PPP, and they're entitled to vote for whoever they want to vote for, right? And you're entitled to vote for your coalition, your PNC, your AFC, whoever you want to vote for, right? Am I correct, Lemon?
Yes, you're very correct.
All right, but what I want people to do is to open their eyes, including the PPP supporters, and let them come to the realization that the PPP doesn't give a damn about them. Look at how those rice farmers were treated, right? And don't tell me that because they voted for the PPP, a lot of them going to stop voting for the PPP. Trust me on this one. Trust me on it. The next elections, the PPP's out of here, man. Once there's a strong coalition, because one party cannot do it. One man cannot think that he can do that trick. It is not going to happen. But Lemon, go right ahead, man.
Yes, and I can't understand what's going on with Putin. He's just a dictator like Jack Dio. I mean, killing all those innocent kids, hospitals.
Why do you say Putin? We know he's a dictator. Why do you say he's just like Jack Dio?
Well, I mean, I must correct myself and say Jack Dio is like Putin, because
birds of a
he went to
feather.
Russia and study. Yes, he went to Russia and study. So
Putin is far more intelligent. Putin is far more intelligent. 1 second. He's far more intelligent than Jack Dio by miles, by years. This guy is just a little leftover. Jack Dio, that is. That when you flush the toilet and there's always something that lingering around, that's Jack Dio, right? But Lemon, go ahead. What else is bothering you, sir? What else? You get paid. You get a bonus. Are you satisfied? You're happy?
I'm very much satisfied.
All right.
Very much satisfied.
Thank you, Jesus. What else is bothering you in Guyana?
Well, the COVID situation, the way how the install regime handle the COVID situation.
Yeah.
I hope the Guyanese people wake up and vote them out.
All right. They'll do that. Lemon, thank you so much. They'll have a great rest of the weekend. And I know the last time you were here, you said you were studying for was it your GED or what is it?
My bachelor's.
Your bachelor's. Wow. Sorry about that. How dare me say GED? Congratulations to you, Lemon.
Thank you very much.
What are you majoring in?
Economics. Political side, yeah.
J.R. Crawford, welcome. Look, Lemon, get out of here, man. Have a good weekend.
You too.
J.R. Crawford, how are you doing? Welcome.
And so far, so good.
Yeah, gosh, Lemon is majoring in economics. Man, yeah. Congratulations to Lemon. You can do it, Lemon. Because if Jagdeo did it, you can do it. If Irfan supposedly did it, you can do it too, Lemon. Come on, I didn't mean to laugh. I'm not laughing at you, Lemon. I wouldn't do that. God bless you, Lemon. J.R. Crawford, look, let's get straight to the protest, the rice farmers yesterday. But let me first welcome you to Straight Up. I haven't seen you for a while right here. But this is what happened in your neck of the woods yesterday. All right, J.R. Crawford, you that's not far from your neck of the woods, so to speak. It's right around there. What's happening with those rice farmers? What are you hearing? You're on the ground. I'm not seeing politicians on the ground, but I'm seeing you on the ground. What's happening?
Well, the problem with the protests is that the projected price per ton was reduced by the millers from 70 to 65. And they're saying that it will go back all the way to 55. Now, since the industry was privatized, the millers are the ones who supply the fertilizers to the farmers. Now, under the coalition, the fertilizers used to be, for urea, it used to be 4,200 a bag, and the triple was 65. It subsequently went to 10.4 and 12.8. Now, these farmers purchase the fertilizers from the millers at this price, with the projection of having 70,000 a ton. Now they're reducing the price of tonnage, and many of the farmers are going to be belly up, let alone that the rental per acre, some farmers are at 15, some are at 25, 20. So it's not going to work out for them. And a lot of people are going to go belly up there. And it's only fair for the millers to pay this crop at 70,000 so that people can make a little bit of money, because it's not easy being a rice farmer. It's a slavery job. You have to be there every day, because you leave your rice looking good today and tomorrow you don't go, and white fly or Gandhi, whatever the case may be, damage your crop. It don't take long, or water or whatever. So they need to pay the people the projected 70,000 a ton. And the next crop, once they reduce the cost of the fertilizer and the seedling, then the people would expect a lower tonnage, right? Price of tonnage. But now they're squeezing the farmers. And it goes back to what I was saying 3 years ago on this very platform. Once you're outside of the circle, you're only a voting pawn. The ones who benefit under this administration are the ones who are inside the circle. And yes, it's a bad situation, but I do hope that the people that are affected now, that they will vote for progress and a party or a coalition that will look out for their interests. Mind you, at this juncture, I am totally surprised that I haven't seen any coalition leaders in whatever capacity out there listening to the cries of the people. This is another lost opportunity. And it's a shame that, we are not taking interest in people suffering regardless of their party of choice. at the end of the day, whoever rules the country supposed to look after all the citizens, regardless who they voted for or not. And this, like I said, I'm very surprised that the coalition leaders, whatever capacity they're not out there. Now, looking at the police, they should have understand the stress that these farmers are going through. And some of the farmers were manhandled. It's not a good thing. These are the guys who pays heavy taxes, and which in turn subsidize the police salary. Don't treat them like, they're common criminals. They're out there because they're losing money, they're under stress. And Mark, you may know of a little of the rice industry. It's totally different now than when in our days. It's a lot harder, it's a lot more stressful. So
I want you to stick a pin, because back in our days, the rice fields, when you plant and you get your beer, you got to monitor the water level, because you don't want the beer to be drowned with water or whatever, or cattle like maybe cows and so forth go and eat out the beer, right? When you plant it. What are some of the problems that they're experiencing now that are far more than when we were growing up and when we just plant the beer and we leave, or we just monitor to make sure the cows don't go and destroy it? What are some of the major problems now?
One of the things is moisture. You'll have a reduced price per tonnage with moisture, because they're grading A, B, and so forth. And improper drainage. If you don't get your fields dry, sometimes if the land is so bad, the combines cannot work, so you'll end up losing the crop after all the investment. So, a lot of stress is involved in cultivation of rice. People think you throw it and that's it. No, you have to constantly be there on a daily basis. Then you'll have cattle grazing people rice at nights. You have white fly. You have Gandhi sucking out the rice. You have wind. If you don't throw enough manure with these type of rice that they have now, you won't get the yield, and you'll have, you'll go belly up. In 2 crops, you'll be out.
We want to get back to the way in which the police treated those protesters, and I don't care who the protesters are, whether they are supposedly supporters of the PPP or the PNC or coalition AFC, whatever. But let us not. We seem to be running away with this notion that because majority of the protesters out there are of East Indian descent, means that automatically they are PPP supporters. You guys need to stop running away with that idea that all PPP, all East Indian folks in Guyana are supporters of the PPP. In many cases, they're not. They don't support the PPP, not because of their ethnicity, right? How would you guys feel if someone was to say all persons of African descent are PNC supporters, when in fact that is not true? So you might be insulting some of those protesters who are East Indian descent, who are protesting, who despise the PPP. I know a lot of Indian brothers and sisters who don't like the PPP. So y'all stop with this thing. Oh, because they're going to go back and vote for the PPP. How do you know they voted for PPP? How you guys know that they voted for PPP? Y'all stop with this thing here, man. Because if y'all continue like that, we're not going to get anywhere. Like I said, I know a lot of Guyanese East Indian folks who are not supporters of the PPP. Some of them are my friends. Some of them are my relatives. They do not support the PPP. So what we're talking about, the protest, is an injustice meted out against them, right? And we have to stand up, and where there's any sort of wrongdoings or police brutality or the PPP hooding the police on innocent protesters or protesters who are out there highlighting a problem, we must be able to embrace those protesters. And we will do it right here on 107.1 FM, right here on this show as well. If the protesters are in Linden, we're not just going to embrace and hug them and say, yes, I love what you guys are doing in Linden because they may be of a particular ethnic group. And so we embrace them because of that. And when East Indian protests, we must say, oh, it's good for them because they supported the PPP. We don't know that for sure. So let us be careful with what we do and what we say, because those same supporters, those same individuals who are protesting, come elections time, everyone will be vying for their votes. And don't be fooled that because of their ethnicity, that all of them are going to rush to the PPP. I say this again, all of them will not rush to the PPP. So y'all be careful. Continue, JR. The police utilize those people.
You're 100% on point. And that is why I'm very, very surprised that the coalition hasn't taken this opportunity to reach out to these farmers to get an understanding of what is going on and build a report that you don't know down the road who will, say, you know what, let me give you an opportunity to be in government. We have to take this opportunity to go out there, talk to everyone, regardless if they're going to come on your side or not, but reach out to all of us because we are all Guyanese. But we're not seeing that kind of behavior, and it's disturbing. These people may or may not have supported the current administration. They're looking for answers. They're looking for leadership. They're looking for help. And many of us who are in position to go out there and get to understand the situation, we are not going. And we are being paid by the very protesters, the taxpayers' dollars. But yet we are not going out because the geographical area simply said, it's a PPP area. So why bother? That is not the right attitude. And I'm hoping that within the next 24 hours, some of the coalition leaders reach out to these people. I am sure by tomorrow, 12 o'clock, PPP will send their representatives in there, because from my understanding, they're trying to fix some of the holes on the road. So, once they're doing that, they're going to get somebody of relevant importance being there tomorrow. I myself will be back in the area tomorrow for personal reasons and also for public reasons. But, like I said, it's a sad situation. And, Blackbush is very, very important to our economy. And, yes, the expensive, process in from start to finish is causing a ripple effect in our market prices in the stores and in the markets.
Lots of that. We'll get back to the prices and so forth. A lot of things going up, JR. You are correct. You are correct, my friend. I'm concerned about how the protesters were treated and whether anybody checked up on what happened to maybe one or two of those protesters who were dumped into that back of that pickup truck. Since it's number 43 Village, I'm sure they headed west towards number 51 Police Station. That's the closest police station. I hope that gentleman that they manhandled and arrested, over 25 policemen and maybe women were there too. That is not how you treat people. And the PPP sent those police men and women there to harass those protesters. It is not going to be accepted. Now, there's a reason why I cut you on that. It's because I want folks to, sorry about that. I want folks to see exactly what is happening. And you're talking about the food prices. Look, Namilco, this is the flour company out in Guyana. 15% with immediate effect. Flour gone up. The price for flour gone up by 15%, not by tomorrow or next week, but with immediate effect. People already going through a lot of burden in that country, economic burden and so forth and so on in that country. But when they go market tomorrow, whether Port Morant market, whether Skeldon market, whether Monrepo market, whether, where is it? Mackenzie market, Wisma market, or Stabrook market, Border market, wherever they go, or the supermarket, be prepared to pay an extra 15% with immediate effect on flour. Does that come as a surprise to you, Mr. Crawford?
No, I'm not surprised. But This is something I've been talking about for 3 years. Everybody is harping about increasing salaries and all this great stuff. No political leader is on record going and fight for the reduction of cost of living. And that is why our dollar has no value. If we do not reduce the cost of living, you can keep raising salary all they want. Every time you give the workers, the public workers, $10 raise, everything goes up 15, 20% in the stores. So it really gets to zero. Why can't we, work as a team, both the opposition and the current administration, to drive the cost of living down so people can able to afford to eat properly, feed their children, and dollar has weight. But everybody is always talking about raise the pay, raise the tax threshold, and all this great stuff. That's the wrong approach. You imagine a country that coins are not valuable anymore. It means we have bad management when it comes to, our welfare as a group of citizens. We need to band together, regardless of who our elected leaders are, and demand better service and goods for us as a nation. And I've said it before, once you're inside the circle, nothing bothers you. It's the ones who are outside the circle that are suffering, yet they're allowing themselves to be used as pawn to put back people that have no interest in their welfare into office. I can't understand it.
Well, look, maybe we can understand it to some extent. Look at this guy, whoever. I don't really trust people without any photographs or whatever it is. Look, this guy Dave Rodney saying, "Why about?" Oh gosh, there we go again. And sometimes trench crappos is not only on one side. It seems like on both sides get one and two trench crappos. Look, this guy Dave Rodney. Why about of this two guy? Always talking bad about the coalition leaders. Yes, 85% of them does vote for the PPP leaders. Mr. Mark, I believe you did not love the leader of PNC. Let me ask about of you guys. Gosh. Father. This guy, we got to throw him in the trench. Makes absolutely no sense, and a distraction, and he's gone in the trench. A distraction, a total distraction. We can't deal with them. Kind of make some sort of some bout of you guys, and you this and you that, and always bashing the coalition. Doesn't he listen? Doesn't he want to understand what is it that we're saying?
Mark,
why sometimes, go ahead.
Many of the supporters on either side of the major party structure cannot take constructive criticism. They are thinking that when you point out the weaknesses, you're bashing. The reason why we are pointing out the weaknesses is because of the lackadaisical behavior towards the plight of the people. The people select the leaders. They work for the people. For some strange reason, we must go along with whatever the elected bodies do. No, that's not how it operates.
And that's what they want. They want, like, for example, you get your party card. You get your PNC party card. I don't. I'm not a PNC member. Let people like Dave or Rodney or whoever he is or she is or whomever, right? Let them. I am not going to come here and sit and chat or no leader or no political party. I don't do that. I just don't do that. But if he or she or whomever he or she is, they would see that most of the people who come on this show are coalition MPs and so forth, and the leaders and so forth. So Dave, just get out of here. Just go right away. Run. Go. Right?
Mr. Bishop.
Hold on. Feel free to call me Mark. Right? But let me say this, Mr. Crawford. Let me say this. Somebody else made a point that I want for us to include some of these some of our listeners as well, right? Somebody is making a point, and I want us to get to that point that person is making. sorry, I'm looking for that. Let's go to Joseph Colin Wilson. This is what Joseph is saying. And good evening to you, Joseph. Constructive criticisms are okay. They're not bad. It's what's in a democracy, but dotishness, I have no patience for that. Mr. Wilson is saying, at the rate you are calling for protests, Mark, if the coalition protests for every injustice, any and every group, then the coalition will be in constant protest. We can't protest for everything. We will pick and we will choose. Mr. Wilson, I got you. I got you. But not so long ago, we were hearing there was no protest and no action and no nothing. And then there will be boots on the ground and people must prepare for boots on the ground and left, right, boots on the ground and all manner of things, boots on the ground. You hearing me, Mr. Wilson? Boots on the ground and what happened? And now we're hearing a different tune. That we can't protest for everything. I agree with you. Not every single thing that is out there that the coalition got to go out there and protest. No, I am not saying it. Mr. Crawford is not saying it. A bulk of our listeners are not saying that, right? Because it is impossible. It is impossible that the coalition and the leadership, that they are out there every minute. That is true. I agree with you on that. When was the last time you see them out there anyways? That's the question. But they're not out there on the quarantine with those rice farmers. They're not. Because like some folks are saying, it doesn't make sense to be out there with them because they can go and vote for PPP anywhere. Anyways, we don't know that. We just don't know that. But I can't sit here and see police heist up and lick down and lash down and lock up protesters because and turn a blind eye because they are perceived to be supporters of the PPP or because of their ethnicity. Let me turn my eyes that other side, right? The other side. And only focus on when those things happen to protesters in Linden or in Georgetown or Belladrum or Buxton or Agricola. No, I'm not going to do that. And in any election, sometimes one vote makes a difference. One vote can tip the scale to the other side. And sometimes you never know. It could be that one rice farmer vote that you may need. So let us be careful. Mr. Crawford, go ahead.
Mark, listen to that comment. That's the very thing that is costing the coalition dearly, the picking and the choosing, because they seem to be picking all the wrong things. And as much as, people don't support the coalition platform, we must be a party of all Guyanese, regardless of who they support. Only with that attitude will we be able to grow the party and to have a broader base. And that's the reason when you pick and you choose, you miss a lot of things. I am sure that the coalition supporters utilize rice. So why isn't this an important issue? It will affect all Guyanese, not only the PPP supporters. So I am totally disagreeing with Mr. Wilson. And mind you, you made a statement earlier that I am a party member, you're not. Yes, that is so, because I joined the coalition based upon Mr. Granger's leadership. I just want you to know that.
All right. Thanks for letting me know that. Let's not stray away from that. I just thought that I was making a point that if a party member wants to be 100% pro PNC, they have every right to do that, just like the PPP party.
Yes, that's.
And I am not a party member, so people in the PNC should not expect me to sit here and 100% defend the PNC. When their PNC members who have been there since their YSM days don't even come out and defend their own parties. But let's get back to the point in terms of this protest action. Ramjatan, Kemraj Ramjatan is the shadow minister of agriculture. We haven't heard a word from Mr. Ramjatan. At least I haven't seen anything. Mr. Ramjatan, 43 village is not far from 47 village where Mr. Ramjatan is from, his old generation from 47 village or somewhere nearabouts, just a few villages away. Mr. Ramjatan is one of the representatives out there in Berbice. He's the shadow minister of agriculture for the coalition. Gosh, what is happening? But look, they're not going to go out there to protest. And then when you talk, some of them get vexed because you must shut up and turn a blind eye and say, oh, do you see the PPP people lashing out at the PPP? I'm not concerned about whether the PPP lash out or not. I am concerned about those who are part of the coalition that I voted for, right? That they have to work on behalf of their constituency, on behalf of their constituents, whether they like it or not. But look, they're not going to go Berbice to protest with the rice farmers. They're not going to do that. They hardly go out and protest, Mr. Wilson. But tomorrow, look, the one people must go out tomorrow in front of the Russian embassy. In front of the Russian embassy. Look, y'all see what's going on? They're not calling on people to go Berbice to go protest with the rice farmers or in Linden or somewhere else to go protest. They're announcing that y'all should go tomorrow in front of the Russian embassy for go and protest what's happening in the Ukraine. They're not going to just issue a press release and feel they want they go dress up tomorrow. You're going to see how nice they go dress up. Some of them going to get on their flap hat and some of them are ready to talk in front of the microphone for thousands of miles away for the people out there in the Ukraine. Now, don't get me wrong. No, don't get me wrong at all. We should pray and support the people in the Ukraine. We don't want innocent people to be slaughtered. But why is this so important for the AFC that they got to print up flyers, they got to nice up flyers and call for people to go out tomorrow in front of the Russian embassy to protest what's happening in the Ukraine, and them not do nothing? Then I even say let them print a flyer for them to go to Berbice and find out what's going on with the rice farmers, find out what's the problem. A team of them travel and go to Berbice. Y'all get the point already, man. Y'all get my point already. So look, this is one protest. One protest. It make no sense. It make no sense at all. Charity begins at home. Mr. Crawford, go ahead, man. Maybe Mr. Wilson will be there. I mean, mind you, I agree with some of the points Mr. Wilson made, but maybe Mr. Wilson will be there. Go ahead, Mr. Crawford.
Mark, when you see these sort of behavior by the party, it makes you wonder, if we cannot fix our own yard, how can we help our neighbor? We have to take care of our yard first, and our yard is our country. I don't know why the coalition is always reactive instead of being proactive. And a lot of people, I relish being a villain to some of our listeners in the sense that they say I'm hammering the coalition. I have to hammer him because I am putting out my energy and my support for this team, and I expect the team to grow on a weekly basis. And we must look back at where we messed up last week so we will correct the mistakes this week, so we'll be a better team for the next week. But we keep repeating the same behavior all the time and expect to grow a base. We can't. And I am not into politics as for only for party supporters. I am here for all Guyanese who are underrepresented. I don't care which party you support, as long as we take care of our citizens.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But this protest tomorrow that the AFC has called, that they print nice flyers for protest tomorrow, I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed.
Same here.
Because I don't see the same energy that they have. That they do not put in the same energy to go out and protest in front of the oil and gas expo or energy expo that they had. They don't put out the same energy to travel all the way to Linden to go and protest. They don't put out, and this does not exclude some members of the PNC too, not just confined to the AFC, but they don't put as much energy at all to go and join hands with protesters in Guyana, people who are concerned, people who have been brutalized, people who have been persecuted, right? It seems as though some of these guys do these things, some of them in the opposition, when they know the cameras will be on them. And so at the Russian embassy tomorrow, they expect the cameras to be on them, to focus on them. So that is a safe protest for them. But for them to travel to go to Berbice and join hands with those protesters out there, they're not going to do it. For them to go to Linden and protest, they're not going to do it. For them to call a protest for the 3,000 plus, in support of the 3,000 plus public servants who have unjustifiably sacked by the PPP, they're not going to do that. They're just not going to do that. For them to show up at the Square of the Revolution for protests as they've had a couple months back, they're going to show up for 1 hour, make sure they talk to the camera, and they disappear. Something is just not right. So what some of you guys want me to do, or us to do who are speaking out, just whisper in a bathroom and that's it? These people in the opposition got to get their goddamn acts together. Simple as that. Because they're turning their support base off. The PPP is messing up big time. We can see it. The people need help. All of the people need help. But it looks as though some of them in the opposition are turning their backs away from the people. JR, I probably am
Mark,
feeling a little emotional.
I just want to throw this in there, right?
Yeah, go right ahead.
The Ukrainian president, prior to being elected as president, what was his job?
He was an actor. He was a comedian. He was he was an actor.
Right, and you see the dedication right now. He's out on the battlefield here. This is a lesson for Guyanese to say, you know what? It's time for us to shed the weight of career politicians and go with something new. If it works, it works. You can't go wrong, because the career politicians here are not showing interest in the poor people.
And look, JR, most of those MPs, forget about the regime side, most of these MPs, right? Most of these MPs in the opposition side have another job. And so, Mr. Crawford, they treat their position as a member of parliament, as a lawmaker, as a part-time job. So for them to represent the interest of the people, it is not their first priority. It is not their second priority. It is their last priority. And it's not even a priority for them. They would go out only when I have some time, but I'm busy right now. Or I will speak out. I can't speak out because remember, I have another job. Most of them have another job. And their other job is far more important than their job as a lawmaker. Continue, please. Yeah.
Mark, well, there is where there's a good need for a protest, because the people that represents us in Parliament should have the people's interest as their priority. If you have something that's more important than being a servant of the people, then you do not need to be in that position. You know, I actually got a little bit teed up when someone asked me, what am I doing for the party? And I said, without being on the taxpayers' burden, I have done my fair share without fear or favor. And the folks that are on the taxpayers' payroll, they are being selective and they are looking for other people. You're being paid by the taxpayers to take care of their needs. You don't need to be told or pushed or prodded every time. Go out there and do it. But that's the kind of representation that we are having, and hence the way that we are as a nation. I can't wait to see when the people start to hold their politician accountable very seriously. If you can't perform, run you out of town.
You know, and that is so true, right? Maybe that's where the list system is problematic, because the people of Region 10 should be able to elect. On elections, they elect their own parliamentarian. So if Brenda Casey wants to run for that seat in Region 10, I think Region 10 has maybe 2 or 3 seats or whatever, or Carl Miller wants to run out in Region 6 for a seat, or Teresa Sobers want to run, or a Patricia Kisoon wants to run in Region 3 or wherever, let the people decide. And once the people decide on who their members of parliament should be, then we will see the members of parliament stop finding excuses. They're going to go out and they're going to walk because they want to be re-elected. Just like the Congress people here and the senators and so forth. They got to work. They got to show their constituency that they're working. But how the system is made up in Guyana is that the parliamentarians don't have to work for their constituents. They don't have to work for their constituency. They work to please the party leadership. Mind you, not leader, just leader, but the party leadership. And the leadership of the party decide. They're the ones who decide on who your member of parliament would be. And so oftentimes when, say, for example, if the party decides to take my name from the list, because I was a candidate, I'm just giving an example, take my name from the list to say, we're putting Ben Sharp in parliament, right? You know, let's say to represent Region 10. The people can either say, you know what? Ben Sharp is a hard worker. Yes, he will fight for us. Yes, that's a good, yes, we applaud that. But most times when you see the leadership of the party extract a name from the list to represent your region, a lot of times people are like, wait, what? What? You couldn't be serious. And so the people don't have any other choice. Maybe that's why the parliamentarians are like that, right? They feel as though they're doing people a favor. They feel as though $250,000 a month is not sufficient. They feel as though duty-free concession is not sufficient. They feel that when they drive across the bridge and they don't pay no toll or nothing, they feel that that is not sufficient for what they do. But what do they do? What most of them do? Huh? What most of them do? I noticed somebody said some of them just go social media platform, Facebook politician. JR?
Well, you're 100% correct. And, you know, that's the sad part of our political structure here. And I do hope that when they finally get to do some reform work on our political landscape, that these are the things that will be fine-tuned. Now, Mark, I want to raise a point back with the farmers. The simple rice problem right now, if you go into the markets now, you know, cash crops have gone so high. And, you know, people are not, or leaders are not looking back and saying, what about the poor households? Can they afford, you know, these basic necessities to, you know, provide for their families? And we're not seeing anything there. And, you know, when we look back as gas prices gone up, you just showed that the flour has gone up and every other little stuff is going up. Where are we heading? When is this bubble going to burst? You know, I am still at a loss. We are not seeing any fight towards what is happening. We are not seeing any emergency sessions or meetings are being held, you know, to look after the people's interests. It's just like, take it or drop dead.
Camera politicians for the most part. But I'm sure there are a couple of them who are out there working. But the bulk of them, what are they doing? Let's take, for example, look, let's go back to this here, Mr. Crawford. Tomorrow, the AFC folks want to go in front of the Russian embassy to protest. They're not going to Borbies. They're not protesting for other stuff, but they're going to print out these nice flyers and calling for people to go out and protest in front of the Russian embassy, the Russian embassy. But I bet you, I got like about $13 in my pocket. I bet you all 13 that tomorrow the PPP and their folks, guess where they're going to be, Mr. Crawford? Tomorrow.
They'll-
While the
they'll-
AFC them there in front of the Russian embassy, guess where the PPP going to be?
They'll be in Bangladesh.
They'll be in Barbies.
Yep.
They will be in Barbies.
I will definitely let you know if it happens tomorrow. I'll be in the area.
I don't know. Something. Not if it happens tomorrow, Mr. Crawford. The PPP folks will be on the ground in Barbies tomorrow. Because the coalition folks fail to be present. They fail to be there on the ground in Barbies today. They were not there yesterday, but they feel comfortable that they go on social media and they put up little pictures and say, look at the rice farmer. Look, man, look. JR, some people will get angry with me, but I'm accustomed to people being angry with me, right? The truth
Well, I don't care what they think anyway.
One second, Mr. Mansour. 1 second, please. Thank you. I tell you what, JR, and this is no joke for me, but I want politicians, especially those in the opposition, that I campaigned, that I voted for, to represent the interest of their constituency, to represent their constituents. I didn't vote for them to represent me on Facebook. I can represent myself on Facebook. We all can represent ourselves on Facebook. I don't want our opposition politicians to jump on Facebook every minute to say that they're representing me on Facebook. Get off of Facebook and go on the ground and represent my interest on the ground, represent your interest and the people's interest on the ground. I don't know if I should talk anymore. They're going to be pissed off, but who cares?
That's my point. I don't
the BS of these people. Get off of Facebook. The struggle and the fight is not on Facebook. It is on the ground. Jump in your vehicle and go to Barbies. Find out what's happening. Go in iTunes. Find out what's happening. Don't play sweet boy and sweet girl politics. And then they get some of them might say, oh, Benjamin and JR always attacking the coalition.
But they're happy when I attack the current leadership administration, though, right? I call it.
But a lot of them who are talking didn't go out and campaign and vote and all these manner of things.
Right. And then they're on Facebook talking, trash.
They don't know the sacrifices and the trouble people made. We were there on the campaign. I hopped on a plane and who I voted for, who I campaigned for. I didn't campaign for these goddamn people to come on social media to represent me. If I want any representation on social media, I probably have Mark Zuckerberg, I'll probably have Brenda Casey and a couple of other people to represent me on Facebook. They are Facebook representatives. So next time around, let's not vote for politicians on the ground. Let's vote for Facebook representatives, where they can come and show some pictures and show some video, and they are right. And that is representation for them. Meanwhile, the people on the ground can't say when last they see their people, can't say when last they see some of their MPs. Now, one thing else, JR, I'm not saying that a politician or an MP should not use Facebook. I'm not saying that. But those same politicians who only come on Facebook should go on the ground. This is not about coming only on Facebook, do up your hair nice, or put on a nice short jack or whatever.
Mark, politics is like a love affair. Yeah, you can have all the fancy talking on a phone or, whatever. The best of the relationship going to be in person. So you have to be on the ground in contact with these people to get an understanding what is going on, or to show the kind of love and care for your fellow citizens. So, nobody's knocking the Facebook activity. What we're getting angry is the lack of effort to going out on the ground to show people that you care, that you are a servant of the people. But here it is, it's like we are worshiping these people. Well, not me, but that is what they're looking at. That's the behavior. To hell with the job. The job is that you're there for the people. But they are making it look like if the people must be there for them. Hence the way we are with all of the negative stuff that's happening in this country is because we have politicians who are putting themselves on a pedestal and expect us to climb up there to get to them. To hell with that.
And when you don't do, look, I am a sympathizer of the coalition. I voted for the coalition. I campaigned for the coalition. All I'm asking for, and I know that I speak on behalf of thousands of persons who supported the coalition, and thousands of us know that the coalition won the elections. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. All we're saying to these people in the coalition, and I want to make this lucidly clear this evening, the arrogant ones them in the coalition, I'm addressing them. Stop the arrogance. Get off of your unnecessary high horses. Go on the ground, take off your high heels, take off your kickers, and go on the ground and work for the people. Don't think that you're going to get the people's votes just like that. A lot of those same people, when the coalition was in office, they believed that they were gods. You couldn't see them in the communities. You couldn't see them in the constituency representing their people. You couldn't see a lot of them. That is a fact. All I'm saying, and if I have to say this publicly over and over again, learn from your mistakes. Learn from your mistakes, please. Otherwise, cat is going to eat y'all dinner. Yes, Mr. Crawford.
You know, Mark, what I wanted to ask you to, I saw something earlier on social media with in respects to someone putting out something that the leader of the PNC Norton wasn't welcome in Queens. Can you touch on that?
I saw a flyer to that effect. I saw a flyer to that effect, and I think Mr. Norton is right now at a club it's a Friday night hangout there in Brooklyn. It's the Loft, and if you're close by and you can hop by, just go on by. It's Friday night. Everybody goes out Friday night, and clubs are usually crowded. And I think Mr. Norton has had a busy week. He deserves a little downtime. Leaders do deserve a downtime because they're human beings too, right? But all I'm saying is that the MPs and the leadership and so forth, they got to get serious with their support base. Otherwise, cat is going to eat their dinner. Now, let me say concerning a flyer that you mentioned, I don't know what to take of it other than to say, Mr. Crawford, that in my opinion, something is not adding up. It doesn't make sense. Mr. Norton has not been scheduled to speak at any event in Queens. There's no public meeting for him in Queens. And I don't know where that flyer originated from, but it doesn't add up. It doesn't make no damn sense to me at all. That's just my opinion. Mr. Norton was in Queens. He met with some pastors, some clergy members, and from all ethnic groups. They were there in Queens, and he had a peaceful gathering with those individuals out in Queens. He stopped by at Sybil's restaurant. I saw him in a photograph with my good friend Cookie, the owner, and it seemed to have been a good meeting of Guyanese in Queens. And then lo and behold, there's this ridiculous flyer. God in heaven knows where the heck the flyer originated from. That to me doesn't add up. 1 second, doesn't add up, doesn't make no sense. It is basically throwing people off of the real focus. And now, again, in responding to your not question, the flyer doesn't make sense to me at all. It just doesn't make sense, man. Can we talk about something?
Thank you for clarity.
Can we talk about something? It doesn't make sense.
Touching back on Mark, there's something that's a disturbing trend that's emerging is the behavior of the police force.
Why is that a disturbing trend? Every time the PPP is in office, that's what happens. That is exactly what happens.
But these are the people that are partly paying their wages with the other public servants. So why would we want to be mistreating people because they are having a dire situation that needs to be addressed? You know, why was not somebody and throw them into a back of a pickup truck?
Let's go back, Mr. Crawford. In fact, since we're at the police, this caught my attention. This is from Brutus, right? Senior police officer Brutus. Hear what he's saying. The use of force seems to be one of the areas that we are lagging behind. And in that regard, many of the locations and even some individual members are now currently blacklisted by the U.S. State Department, right? Training is one area that will assist us to get beyond the blacklisting. So Brutus is now concerned about the blacklisting of some of these policemen and women by the State Department. You know, quite a few of them have gotten their visas revoked. And a couple days after Officer Brutus made this statement about, look, the use of force seems to be one of the areas that we're lagging behind. Brutus, he's the one who said that. And days after saying that, we come to this. Good. So you guys see the evidence is there how protesters are being treated. Brutus was concerned about that the U.S. State Department has revoked a lot of those police officers' visas, and maybe they will continue to be revoked once they continue with that sort of treatment, because that is not how you treat protesters. It is unacceptable. And again, I repeat, I don't care what color, the hair texture of the protesters. I don't care what political party they support or they vote for. I am not bothered about that. Wrong is wrong. And what they did to those rice farmers at number 43 Village and Blackbush Polder yesterday is wrong. We know that tomorrow they're going to try to rush and play make up and love up and catch up and tell the rice farmers a bunch of propaganda and lies. They are going to do that tomorrow. Watch for the headlines, PPP visit Berbice. We're looking at the time, Mr. Crawford. Anything else you want to discuss before we leave?
Another issue that we are not hearing about is the petition. For some reason, you know, we are always going to fall asleep, and then somebody has to, you know, probe us to get up there. The petition, that issue should have been on a weekly drum. We need to make sure that we, you know, time is slipping by and monies are going here, there, and everywhere, and we are not able to track it down. We need to hear this petition, get this thing out of the way, so, you know, we can know where we're going or what we have to do. And I'm not seeing the effort where, you know, we need to talk about it. We need to protest for it. Those guys there. But for some reason, we're not hearing anything about it.
Well, it's before the court, and what they should do, they should write the court, because look, elections petitions are urgent legal matters. that ought to be top priority for the
Yes.
judicial system, not forced into the back burners. It's a priority. We're not seeing that. And I agree with you that the legal reps for the coalition should oftentimes remind the court or write to the court or even come out to the public and talk about the elections petition. Because remember the one in 1997, it took 4 years before it was finally called. And when it was called, Claudette Singh, who sat there as the judge in the High Court, vitiated the election, saying that was it. Fresh elections had to be called. And by March 2001, there were fresh elections. Do we have to wait 4 years for these elections petitions to be heard? Lots and lots of irregularities.
That's my point.
I don't know.
Look,
I got you.
Look at the amount of monies. I mean, I am still wondering. I saw something there with the account balance of the NRF being made public. I'm still not understanding the numbers. If the initial oil agreement said that in 2020, we would have gotten 300 million, 21, 400 million, and 22 March, we got 500 million, plus our profit sharing and our sale twice a year. The numbers doesn't add up. And nobody is taking this, this fight.
Them guys got Crawford, them guys get a strategy. They know it all.
Oh, I see.
They know it all. They have a strategy.
My bad.
There's always a reason why they can't protest now, why they shouldn't protest now, why they shouldn't do this now, why they shouldn't do that now.
I got you.
I got them. They're the only ones who have a strategy. They have a strategy. They know it all. They have a strategy. They know it all, right? Meanwhile, God, I don't know why our operator, why Lemon did, why you did this to us, man. Meanwhile, meanwhile,
there was another person in on that photograph.
And not everybody that looks like a person is actually a person, So maybe our operator deliberately cut out that other individual that you think was a person. But look, on a serious note, though, let me remind folks about this case. This guy here, the little boy, got his leg shot off. He was 12 years old. He attended Berbice High School when a team of policemen, including this guy, that police officer, Karim Baksh. Karim Baksh is the superintendent that heads SOKU, right? Where all those charges and they go after political charges against individuals. That's the guy, Karim Baksh. And for all those years, he was the one the fingers were pointed at. He was accused, mind you, of shooting this boy's leg off, shooting his leg off. This guy and his friends, they were little boys, 12 years old, playing in the bushes out there in New Amsterdam. They saw the police, they ran, and they hid in a old house. These police guys barged into the house, and the little boy was in the closet. He said a look and he screamed that he's in the closet, and they shot off his leg. He was not compensated. And this guy, Karim Baksh, who sits there at SOKU, nothing happened to him. Absolutely nothing. I just thought that I remind the public about these creatures who are part of the police force. These creatures, it's sad. It's really, really sad. But there's something else. Look, we are not going to see or hear the AFC and the opposition in general seem to be quiet about the allegations made by Sue. They're not calling, they're not protesting SOKU for Soku to go after this guy, to pick him up, to pick up Bara Jagdeo and question them based on allegations made that this guy, according to Vice News, mind you, what they said about this guy, Sue has since denied it, that he ever paid Jagdeo a bribe. Now, Sue denying it doesn't end the story. Jagdeo denying it doesn't end the story. There should be an investigation into this matter. And so Guyanese people want their politicians, especially those in the opposition, right, should go out in front of Soku's office and protest them, calling on Soku to go and question Jagdeo and question Sue. But do you think they're going to do that? They're not going to do that. They don't care about that. And so they're going to go out and protest tomorrow for what? For what? Just for the cameras, right? Meanwhile, nothing from Soku. The other thing quickly before I go, I just want to remind our listeners about this here. The U.S. blocks funding for expansion. This was from one of the local online media house in Guyana, right? It says, and this news is accurate, it has been discovered that it was the United States government that blocked the U.S. $130 million loan from the Inter-American Bank, the IDB. Right? It was the Americans. Now they realize that it's the Americans who did that. Mind you, days ago, we said it right here. U.S. vetoed IDB loan for GYSBI shore base. One of the investors in that company, I'm told, of course, he was arrested many years ago, a couple years ago, not so long ago, in the United States, alleged money laundering. More to come. Let them not be afraid. More to come. And very soon we might hear them start attacking. Guess who? Sarah Ann Lynch, the U.S. ambassador. Very soon they may start attacking her. Your closing remarks, Mr. Crawford.
Marco, what I would like to see is that our people, regardless of what party we support, have proper representation. And if there are issues concerning our communities, we need both the current administration and the opposition now to reach out to members of our public to show interest in what can be done, what was the root cause of the problem, so we can avoid having these situations. And I'm hoping that the police force will start to treat our citizens with a little bit more respect. It's not that they were chasing criminals of a choke and rob or a armed robbery or so on to treat them like that. People are frustrated. They're scared that their earnings will go down the drain, and they have a right to vent their frustration when it is a political issue. And, we must, as a nation, be able to understand that our citizens are our most important asset. And we can't treat them like, they're animals. These are the very people that when we take off our uniforms, we need them. We shop at the market, we shop at their stores, we go to their houses and ask them to buy the same products that they're complaining about, that they're not being able to make a profit and all these things through, our millers' fault. At this juncture, with the cost of what the farmers bought their manure and their seedlings from the millers, this crop, they must be paid the $70,000 in order for them to turn a profit. Or many of them are going to go belly up, and we are not going to be able to meet our export quota. And, as leaders of political parties, we need not to be afraid to venture into a so-called green village or a red village. We are all Guyanese. Go and talk to them. That's how you learn. That's how you know what is really happening in the lives of people on a daily basis. Not to assume that if I stop in number 55 village, I'll be chased out. So what if you're chased out? Go to number 56 village. But hit all the villages, because at the end of the day, we are all Guyanese. And somewhere along the line, once people see that we are caring leaders, they are going to start to pay more attention to us. Maybe we'll garner their support. We may not have the amount that we target, but we will still have some.
Good point. Mr. Crawford, thank you so much. I know sometimes you're frustrated. I know sometimes there are people who don't want to hear the truth. You're there on the ground. I take my hats off to you. I take my hats off to people who are on the ground. Call them foot soldiers, people who are brave enough to speak out, whether it is going to hurt some of the very people that you're part of, that you support a political party. And people want you all the time to basically chate, as we would say on the Kurti, chate the political leaders. They want people to basically hide. I'm not saying they're not to rush out and expose and everything, but all we're saying is that they need more representation, and not political leaders who have promised that they are going to do this and they will do that and right away and this and that. But now we're hearing lots and lots of excuses as to why protest is not the way to go. Maybe what they're saying is that the protest for Guyanese rights and well-being is not the way to go for them. But it is okay for them to go out and protest for what's happening all the way in the Ukraine. If I were in Guyana, I would not have attended that protest with the AFC tomorrow. And with that, I'm saying, be careful. Find something else to do tomorrow. Go to your shopping, maybe clean up your yard, maybe plant some okra, some bora, some melange, or whatever, some pumpkin in your yard. Do not waste your time with some of these politicians who want to misdirect you. Focus on what is happening in your country. Whilst we pray and we sympathize with the people of the Ukraine, the innocent people who are being slaughtered, who are being bombed out in their own land. And also we pray for our African brothers in the Ukraine who are being mistreated, and brothers and sisters who are being mistreated. Our Indian brothers and sisters in the Ukraine who are being mistreated, who are being kicked out of trains, who are being treated worse than dogs. And now I'm not saying all the Ukrainians treat them like that, but we have to pray for those people who are being ill-treated, the Africans and the Indians who are being ill-treated in the Ukraine as well. And now there's a young man, a Guyanese, who sits in the prison, in a Moscow prison cell, not sure when he is going to be released, all because of his fate, being a Jehovah's Witness. I haven't seen anything from the AFC or the coalition about his release. I didn't see any protest action against that at all. Nothing whatsoever. And it is for that reason, for those reasons and more, I'm saying the coalition MPs and the leadership of the coalition have to get their act together. Stop it. I'll be back on Monday. Same place, same time. And for those MPs who are watching in the opposition, if you want to do something as well, a lot of you get paid $250,000 taxpayers' money. Some of you might say, if you go out, if you're a lawyer, if you're whatever, you'll get more pay for that. Well, it's okay to go. But you can start by doing something too. Go out and represent the people. And this week when you guys get paid, as we say, throw something in the bucket for us here, so that we can stay alive and we can survive and we can continue to do what we're doing at 107.1 FM. All right? Charity begins at home. We run a radio station It's a radio station that we run that benefits all of you. There are programs that benefit all of you in the opposition. And so I've noticed some people have been asking, well, we made out this here so that you can lend your support in whatever way, shape, and form. And no, I didn't wait because it's Friday night and it's pay night. I didn't. It's the coincidence that we just put that up. Thank you so much, Lemon.
Mark,
Yes, sir. Quickly.
just to point something out.
Sure.
The Americans and the Venezuelans were at a disagreement. Now with this conflict with Russia and Ukraine, the Americans sent a team to talk to Maduro about purchasing petroleum from them, right?
Yep.
I made that point just to say to the coalition leaders, yes, a village might be red, but there's no hurt or no harm in stopping there. You never know what can come out of a visit.
True. Even the Colombian president, they're very close now as well.
Yep.
The undersecretary visited Chile the other day too. You know, and when the PPP leadership go into the coalition support base, they get vexed.
Yep.
Leadership of the coalition get vexed. Don't get vexed. Go into PPP support base too.
Right.
Go at Port Moran, find out what's happening. The people are suffering. Go in Blackbush Pola, go at number 43 village. Go places like those. Go into the PPP stronghold areas. Don't think that everything is honky-dory with those people. Don't take things for granted. That is not politics. JR, have a great weekend. Are we going to see you at that protest in front of the Russian embassy tomorrow?
Oh, no, I'm going to Jandi tomorrow.
I'm sure. Yeah, I haven't gone to Jandi in a while, man. Oh, gosh.
I'm not that evil at the end of the day, you know. I'm still a good.
Swami Jai Jagadish Swahade Matilda. Look, tell the Pandit I say hi. JR, it's always a pleasure to see you, my brother. Give my regards to you know who. Tell her I say hi. My good friend for almost 40 years.
I will.
Tell her I say hi. Thank you, JR.
Yeah. Thank you and good night, everybody.
Thank you, my friend. And to all of you, every single one of you, God bless you. Have a great weekend. Whatever you do, just be safe, right? And remember that the criticisms are constructive criticisms against the opposition MPs. It's not that anybody has, at least I don't have any personal grudge, personal agenda against those individuals. But I listen to the people on the ground and on social media and other places cry out for proper representation. They do that on a daily basis. And those who are being paid to do that, those lawmakers who are being paid to do that, do it. If you don't do it, you will turn people away from you. And maybe, who knows, maybe you'll turn me away from you too. And I'll just kiss and say goodbye. Wake up, opposition MPs. Wake up, leadership of the coalition. Don't just battle each other. Don't just talk about who sleeps and who doesn't sleep. Do your work. Stand strong and represent the people. Stop the excuses. Too many excuses as to why the right things should not be done. I'm tired of the excuses. I'll see you guys on Monday. Same place, same time. God bless.
I'm feeling rude, I'm feeling hot. I want to run. The feeling exciting. So darling, let's do something. I wanna rub my body on your body. Body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub and love up. I wanna rub and kiss up. I wanna rub and jam up. I wanna rub and rub up. I wanna rub my body on your body. Rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body. Rub my body on your body. I just get paid. I want to play. The vibes is right. I wanna hug up tight. No time to waste. I wanna work my ways. So come on, babes. Give me a taste. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub and love up. I wanna rub and kiss up. I wanna rub and jam up. I wanna rub and rub up. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Pulling on. I feeling, 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 I feeling.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.